All right, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Another pre-market call. As always, we'll do a broad market outlook. We'll go over some top ideas and, of course, any stocks that you guys are looking at. So getting started again, we had a very strong week last week. In spite of the nice 3-day run into Friday, we try to highlight in the big picture to be a little bit more cautious going into the week. Again, 3-4 days up. We've seen this before. We've seen almost the same exact thing. End of May, we saw like these 4-day run up. It looks amazing, and completely reverses that move. So into this resistance area, into 418. If you have positions on it, it could be pretty wise to be looking to take some profits into that. You're not expecting us to just blow through this and just continue this march back to highs. That's what we want to see, but in reality, very rarely is that going to be the case. Again, sector-wise, a lot of names have really woken up. Industrials, Dukes, we call that this little buy up through 165, and it's traded phenomenally. And same thing here. It looks great if we get another push today, in a few more days. This is where you want to take some profits. And we're buying up off of support. We're selling into resistance. We're in this range-bound market, and we want to be taking advantage of these sectors and these stocks up off of support and selling into resistance. Not necessarily looking to buy through resistance unless it's a really A+ setup like the one that Christian mentioned yesterday in the Alpha chat. Again, utilities, same thing, little flag that formed, impressive breakout, especially for this sector. The fact that you gapped and go to continue was impressive. But again, main thing, when it gets back up in this resistance area, this is when we want to start taking some profits. We kind of bought in the middle of the range and sell on the higher end of the range. This is close to basically 52-week highs, or close to it. You got to ring the register up there. We see, the Dow 30 still in this broader breakdown stage. And again, broken record, selling into resistance, trying to buy up through support. Same thing with the mid caps. A lot of these sectors have amazing runs. And if you're in those stocks that are in these sectors, trail those stops, but try not to be going crazy buying resistance, third or fourth, fifth day up. So we're seeing a lot of the same thing. REITs, even energy. We had kind of this like dead cat bounce. This major support area is held for now, and now energy sector is kind of waking up. But more than likely, my opinion is kind of put in that lower high and continue that roll over. But when we get these bounces, this is the times where if you do get trapped into these down moves, this is the time to be offloading stock. And even if energy can bounce up to say 120, and you can take some off into that. That's not to roll back over, you don't get chopped up, selling support. And materials, again, this is probably the one sector I would still avoid. This to me still feels like a dead cat bounce where this just broke major support, and maybe it pushes back up through here. But this is one of those, another one's kind of like energy that the thinking is it kind of rolls back over, doesn't continue to stay in this upper end of the range. And then some sectors still setting up. Again, biotech, I think for the year ahead, and telecom will probably be the two better sectors risk reward wise if you have the patience to hold them for a year or longer as they work their way back towards highs. And then again, telecom down here. So telecom and biotech are the two weakest sectors this past year, and probably two that have the best opportunities going forward once they can push out of this breakdown stage. We've seen that biotechs have pushed out of it already, and are starting to base a little bit ahead of telecom in that sense, where telecom is still inside of the breakdown stage. But we can see this little base forming here, and eventually it'll trade sideways down here and kind of work its way up higher. The biggest thing here, again, that we've been talking about pretty much every pre-market call and the newsletters has been the 10-year continuing to roll over, even though the Fed continues to talk about how they want to raise rates. So we're seeing this kind of H pattern heading lower. And this is kind of what I mentioned before with energy. I'm sorry. That we're getting this bounce now, but it still feels like it eventually kind of rolls over. And that's what we're seeing with telecom. Like you had this little bounce here. You had this little bounce, it looks phenomenal. And then it just starts to roll over and push lower. And the lower that the 10-year continues to drop, it's going to help the equities market as it continues. And again, when the 10-year was here and it was up 100% of the year, it's very hard to expect that it would reverse and start to break down. But now that it looks pretty crappy, support's broken, it's much easier for that trade to continue. Last week, the main thing for me really was UPS buying up through this base, which for now has worked okay. But this again goes complete opposite of what I was saying, where I've been saying to try to avoid buying these 450 up. I only bought it because I had to buy stuff in. I've been in the name for a long time. Had I not been in this position, I more than likely would not have bought it that day. So I would not have been wanting to chase, fourth day up. So that's it on my little spiel. Evan, if there's any ideas that members want to go over, we can.
Yeah. That first one's from Kusha. I think it was KNSL. Looking pretty good. I really love the chart, but I was looking at the volume. It only has like 90K average volume, so it is a little thin. Just something to keep in mind. But I threw that 250 all-time high. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, this is one of those where like it's probably the best chart macro wise. Like this through that, like the teacher video looks amazing. It's just tough now, given a verse 220-ish, where we were talking yesterday, where if it can tighten up, you get like a 5% range in here. Again, super thin, but
yeah,
there.
Christopher's looking at a few. First one's CVS through 96.50.
Yeah, so you see, like we're seeing this, we see this breakdown stage. We see it kind of shifting into this base here, and then up through here. If he's buying 96 versus 94, $2 risk. Realistically, definitely could easily bounce to say 100, 102 area. Definitely think it makes sense for sure.
Yeah, earnings in 2 days, so just got to keep that in mind. It could go for a pre-earnings run, maybe like today and tomorrow, but that might be the catalyst that actually pushes it back over 100, depending on how they react to it. So we'll see. Next one he's looking at is VRTX 283. So more of a support buy here after finding some support at this 275 area. And you don't have, what's that?
Is it 283?
Yeah, 283, basically above Friday's high, sort of like low risk support buy type of setup. It does look like it might be rolling over, but those last 2 days kind of, I don't know, it shows that there's some buyers that are still showing up. So we'll see if they can continue to hold that 275 level.
Yeah, I mean, if he's gonna, I mean, this is definitely like a shot, but
it's another one of those, low risk, low probability setups where if it doesn't work, which is, it might not, at least you're out for $8 on a $280 name, you're okay. Next one he's looking at is MNST. Got a few layers of probability here. I mean, it's 100 psych level, all-time high breakout. Obviously on a tear over the last 3 days. So you kind of have to give this down to 94, which is still not the worst risk, like risk reward wise, but the up 3 days makes it tough to try to buy it on the fourth day. Like you were saying about UPS, same kind of thing. Earnings in 3 days as well. So ideally this kind of pulls back over the next 3 days and just sort of gives us a nice little flag. And then we see what earnings does, and maybe that'll push it over all-time highs.
Definitely agree. I think that the Monster and Cush's idea chart-wise are like some of the best that are out there, and they're just getting the right entry in them.
Yeah. Next one, he's got AZO through 2150. So sort of just flagging here over the last couple of days. We're trying to buy over that minor resistance that it's formed. What do you think of this one?
I mean, definitely strong name. Seems like this 2300 is probably going to be like the bigger area in it. But this seems like a lot of those, like some of like the big picture like ads recently, where we were kind of in like the middle of the range, and we didn't have the opportunity to really get really good buys in here, but there was still opportunity to pick something up and squeeze something out of it. So this AZO, strong name regardless, just price point wise. And if you can sneak in here, I think it probably can go versus 2100 if it really goes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is below Friday's low, just because it's that tight inside day. So I mean, I think if it cracks Friday's low, it's probably rolling over. But so that's why I would just have my stop there. So tight stop
100%.
$50 risk, and then, you know, looking to take profits in the, like you said, 2200, 2240 area, and then see if it sets up again through all-time highs.
Yeah, I was gonna say, definitely gotta probably take some profits into this because it's probably not gonna just go and go and go. It's
Right.
a little bit to get it.
And then the last one he's looking at is SGEN. I have this one on my list too. SGEN through 180. Bull flag at major resistance. Looks pretty solid. Yeah, you have that macro trend line up there, so it looks pretty good. I like this one. I think it had earnings. Yeah, it had earnings on Friday, and it was pretty solid, but still sticking in the range. So, you know, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I would buy something for this SGEN through this 180. I might actually be in it already. I have to double check. But yes, this again, this one too, chart wise looks very, very good.
Yeah. That's what we have from. Oh, here we go. Abby's posting a few right now. She's got Adobe ADBE through 415.
This is one of those. I'm sorry, guys. Everyone. This is one of those again. It's fourth, you know, 1, 2, 3, fourth day up. If it was to tighten up a little bit, just like even with like a cushion top idea, that thing can tighten up. Same with this Adobe. It probably ticks it today, but you also have this like little gap fill right here. If it does go today, it's probably going to fill the gap, but then it's going to start to fade the move, just like we kind of saw like this day right here, where it obviously didn't fill the gap, but ran into resistance, looked amazing, fourth day up, and completely reversed the move. And we've seen this very, you know, repeatedly with a lot of names lately with the market. It's 4 days up, everything's perfect in the world is ending. The world is perfect, the world's ending, we're perfect. So it's just this same kind of back and forth action that we're seeing, that it's hard to be buying on the world is the best at this exact moment. We kind of need to find these kind of days. You know, day one, day two, the day four stuff is going to be tough because we've just seen that it just hasn't been working. And that's what we want to be kind of selling into these moves for now, but eventually this can tighten up a little bit, you know, 100%. And earnings up until end of September, so plenty of time. A lot of these things with earnings in a day or two, it's honestly not like just so much more waste of time to like even Monster or was it Monster? Yeah, it's like just wait till the 5th. There's no sense of messing with it before then.
Another one she's looking at is COO through 330.
TOO?
C is in cat.
Okay. Is that through what? Through 330?
330, yeah.
I don't really see it.
Me neither. I like that 320 from a couple of days ago when it like pulled it. It, you know, had a nice move off support, gave us a little like 3-4 day bull flag, and then continued. I think that was a good spot, but I think here it's tough.
Yeah. I think Abby mentioned, what was the name? I think she had this FBHS. I think this was one of her ideas from last week. And I actually took it and full disclosure, I forgot about it. And then I looked and I just got stopped. I just sold it. So I was like, why am I in this name? And it was I'm pretty sure it was one of Abby's ideas, but that was my vacation blunder, which worked out, but bad mistake that made money. Any other ideas, Seven?
Yes, she's also got HD through 301.50.
HD. Yeah,
Home Depot.
I mean, she's buying 302 versus prior low. Again, this is definitely like a little shot. You know, tight little shot. But this is probably this 312, 320. These are gonna be much bigger areas that Home Depot is gonna have kind of battle with. So again, here on some super tight risk, you definitely have some time. Earnings aren't until 2 weeks. But that's going to be kind of battleground 1, battleground 2, and like this would be pretty bold to like based off that risk. Yeah, then is probably unlikely, but realistically, getting a move to this 310, 320 versus that, we could do it. But this one may be a little too tight and too Mickey Mouse-ish My cup of tea.
Yeah, could use a little more time. LLY, I have this one on my list too. Actually, she didn't put an entry because I guess it has earnings this week, but I like it through that 335 area.
Yeah.
So nice flag at highs. I mean, you know, everything you want to look for. 2-3 weeks of consolidation, probably even a bit more than that, like 5 weeks. So yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Again, earnings in 3 days, so we'll probably wait and see if it can push on that.
Looks great the day after earnings. This looks phenomenal.
Yep. And then I think we went over Amgen, CI through 278.
I would just wait for this. This is going to be all-time highs. More likely, you're going to see a retest at this this 282. Another attempt. It's now the random high a day. That's really insignificant. It's just Friday's high a day. This is 1-to-1. You're going to be buying. You're buying this. Hold on, let me get these lines right. You're buying here. Realistically, you're going to see sellers at this prior high, and you're buying it versus here.
Yeah, $5 for $5. So
pass.
Yeah, pass. A little bit of pass. Plus earnings in 3 days. Again, a lot of these names have earnings this week. So and like Shake said in the shakedown, first couple of days of this week is probably more hands off just to kind of see how things develop. We got a ton of earnings, so that's going to help or hurt the market, and then we can kind of see if it continues to push higher or if we start to see some selling. But yeah, that's one more. She got one more. ITCI. This was on my list too. Yeah, ITCI. We've been watching this one for a little while because we thought this was going to break 60 a couple of weeks back, like in early July. And so now it's still holding that 52 support. So buyers are holding it up. Earnings next week. So it's still has some time, I think, through that 54.50 versus 52. But honestly, I think that one can go either way. I think if it breaks support, we can get a nice short out of it. But if the buyers hold it up, we can get a nice push back to 60. So you're risking $2 to make 6 or 5.5.
Yeah,
which is
amazing.
But
yeah, I think just with earnings this close, again, like you said, like you're buying 54.50 versus 2.5. Best case, it's a perfect scenario. It runs to 60 into earnings. That's best case. In worst case, it fiddles around and goes 56 and back to 52. So this one with earnings that close, you're probably better off just letting earnings get out of the way.
Yeah, there's almost a better risk reward to the downside, I would say, where you're basically buying through 52 with a stop at 54. So you're risking $2 and it's got a lot of room to drop if it breaks that support. So we'll see. But that's about it. Market's about to open.
Yeah. All right. Good luck. See you guys next week.
See you guys.